Today is all for the viewer, okay? And then for the listener. And so what we're going to do, we've been asked on multiple occasions to give you some reaction videos from TikTok and also some listener questions. And so I think what we'll do is we'll kind of go through each one of these TikTok trends. We're going to look at one of the videos. We'll give you our opinion on whether it's something that we should pay attention to or it's just another fad or something that is absolutely ridiculous.
This should be fun. So on your marks, get set, and here we go. Here's the first one. First one is on glass skin. Go ahead.
My guide to glass skin.
She's like 3 years old.
Wow, I know. Listen, the 18-year-old should not be posting how to have flawless skin because it's inherent. So this is a layers of oil, that followed by multiple different moisturizers. I'll just give you my take on it. Obviously, I think using an appropriate skincare regimen is great. So essentially what we're seeing here is there's an oil that's placed, then there's a cream over the top, then there's a gua sha, which scrapes all of it off, and then it's a reapplication of a different moisturizer and another oil that goes over the top. So listen, my thought is if you have an effective skincare regimen, you don't need to use baby oil and Cetaphil moisturizer over the top of this. You could potentially have the same benefits just from using the Cetaphil moisturizer. And what you have to be concerned with, especially with someone who's this young, is acne-prone skin. The 4 layers of this with oils and creams over the top can only be comedogenic at some point. And so you're going to plug pores, create acne breakouts. So I don't know that I'd necessarily follow this one.
All righty, let's go to the next one.
Cleanse skin, rinse and pat dry, toner, press into skin, vitamin C serum to brighten skin, hydrating serum to hydrate skin, hydrating cream.
So I'll take this one. And I think this one's a little better because she's actually has a routine. She's not just taking a bunch of the same thing. And she's got a great routine. She's got a great glow, beautiful woman, and she's not 18. So her glass skin, quote unquote, routine is not a bad routine. It's using a toner and a moisturizer and a cleanser. And I don't think it's too off. She just should be using Beverly Hills MD products.
Yeah, listen, I think, again, it all goes back to having an appropriate skincare regimen. If you've got a vitamin C serum, you have a good moisturizer, and you have a retinol at night, I think, honestly, the rest of this can just be for fun. You can add this, but you always got to be careful. The more layers you add, especially of oils and creams, you run the risk of having acne breakouts.
And it does look like glass because it's so shiny. You're gonna get that result.
Not everybody enjoys that very dewy look.
All righty, here we go. Slugging.
All right, so we're taking Vaseline, and there is a huge amount that she's placing on it. Applying, Vaseline to the skin. I think a lot of these techniques, the whole idea, everybody's looking at having very smooth glass-like skin that has a shine to it. And dewy is a look that some people prefer. I find it interesting that everyone posting this has flawless skin. And so the interesting part is that for the average individual, placing Vaseline on the skin, you have to imagine, can be comedogenic. And so it plugs pores. So if you have oily skin, do not do this. And if you have a mixed skin with an oily T-zone, I definitely wouldn't do this just because you're going to break out on your forehead and nose. So again, it all goes back. I understand the concept of wanting to trap in moisture. There's no doubt. But I think that there are other ways of doing that without plugging some pores.
You want another slugging video? Or you want to move on to face icing?
Face icing. I cannot wait to see some of these things.
Let's see what face icing
All right. So we've got a male. So
this is a young man, relatively young, who's got great facial structure, and he's taking ice and he's putting it all over his face because he's saying that it reduces inflammation and swelling.
Why do you have the inflammation and swelling in the first place? That's my question.
But the interesting part is he doesn't have much inflammation or swelling.
That's what I'm
this
saying.
guy looks great. Can ice help? Sure. Is it going to really do a whole lot on a daily basis? This isn't cryotherapy. Cryotherapy involves ice at a certain amount of temperature for a certain amount of time. And yes, cryotherapy can work depending on what you're doing. It can decrease inflammation. It can actually even decrease areas of fat.
Yeah, listen, you're talking about your face. Anytime you freeze or you add cold to the face, you can lose facial fat. Now, there is something called equestrian paniculitis. And that's essentially what happens for all of the horseback riders. And this is how they came up with cool sculpting. They looked at some of these scenarios in children. There was either popsicle paniculitis or equestrian paniculitis. And one was that children who they gave popsicles on a frequent basis slowly started to lose their buccal fat. And same thing happened with equestrians. They were out in the cold weather, jumping with their horses and riding. And so they noticed that the faces tended to look more gaunt. And then these genius individuals at Harvard came up with that technology in freezing the fat. So if you're looking to maintain, and the individual that's on here is young. Now, you keep putting ice all over your face. My thought is that you're slowly, and it depends how often you're doing it. If you're doing it a ton throughout the day, you may actually destroy some of the facial fat that's important.
Clearly why we don't ice after fat transfer.
Definitely. And so this isn't something. Now, look, you get punched in the face, go ahead and play some ice because it'll reduce inflammation. But what is the type of inflammation that you are trying to reduce? Unless you have a bad sunburn or something like that you're trying to slow down the deleterious effects. But other than that, it's not something I would recommend.
I'm going to go to one more face icing because I just found that to be really funny. What's this one? Icing my face every morning and night.
Wow.
So this is a young girl who's probably in her early 20s, maybe, you think?
If that.
If that, with good facial fat, and she's just taking a block of ice and icing her face.
You know what? My thought is this. You want to get some advice. I would take it from the 55-year-old person that looks absolutely flawless and then follow that skincare routine. I definitely am not going to take it from a 19-year-old that feels that, using some trend they found on TikTok is going to work on their skin. There's just no science that
I think icing your face is not going to cut it. Yeah. Let's move on to the next one, which is do-it-yourself dermaplaning. Here we go.
Oh, wow. All right. So we've got a straight blade.
Dermaplaning
essentially
at home.
Just very gently. It's scraping off the top layers of the skin. Now, there is science behind this. The idea is we need to exfoliate. And so now to do this maybe once a week might not be a bad idea. And it's basically taking a straight blade. You're going to go from top down, feathery motions where you essentially just scrape off the top layers. Be careful that you're not beveling that blade and you're going to end up cutting yourself. But the goal is essentially just to scrape off the top layers. And that can make the skin look more youthful because you're taking some of the dry, sallow layers off of there. And then apply a hyaluronic acid or a vitamin C serum or a moisturizer just to help, give you that glow that you're looking for.
The only thing I will say is just be careful, because dermaplaning should be done by a trained professional. Let's see this next dermaplaning video, just because I'm really, really, really very fascinated with the fact that these people are doing dermaplaning. Here we go. I don't know what I was doing with so much peach fuzz. Now.
Yeah, essentially, it's like what we do with shaving cream. You put something on your skin just so the blade glides a little more. And again, you got to be very careful because you can strip some of the important layers off. You just want to gently. That's why, again, I agree with you. I think you go with a professional because you go a little too deep and you're creating wounds on the skin. So
and those wounds sometimes can cause scars. So watch out.
Yep.
Okay, let's move along to the next TikTok trend, which is skin cycling.
Ooh.
I gotta tell you, some of these things I've never even heard of before.
I know. Listen,
I gotta go on TikTok more often.
Classic skin cycling routine is a 4-night cycle. Exfoliation night, retinoid night, recovery night, and repeat. So night 1 is exfoliation night, and you want your skin to be completely dry before you apply your acids. Now, I always recommend a blend of exfoliating acids.
And this is done by a doctor that's on Good Morning America, Dr. Whitney Bowe, who's a big dermatologist, and she's doing skin cycling, which basically is doing exfoliating, then a retinoid.
You want to cleanse, pat, dry.
So you clean,
1 pea-sized amount of a retinoid. Less is more.
then you retinol, and then you moisturize, right?
Yep.
Absolutely nothing wrong with this. I think this is great. I personally don't think this is something you need to do at a younger age. I think maybe wait till you're in your maybe 30s to start, maybe even more. I don't think too young is necessary for this, but I don't think this can hurt, and I think it's a good way to do it.
A retinol, I think you can start it as early as you're 20 years old. And the only reason I say that is because to increase cellular turnover, imagine you've got oily skin, you want to increase that cellular turnover just so you can have healthier layers. Mm-hmm. I think when I would definitely start it would be in my 30s. And so, appropriate skincare, we never really started when we were younger.
No, because you look good. You're like, what do I need to do
Yeah,
anything?
of course. But you have to imagine that your skin starts to deteriorate after age 18. So, I would say that's when you really should start using it.
And here's another one with the Derm Guru, which is doing pretty much the same thing, right? So you're exfoliating, you're using a retinol, and then you're taking 2 nights to recover.
Yep.
And there's really nothing wrong with this. These are explained by dermatologists who do this for a living, and I think that it's fine. I don't think 4 days is the way to do it. I think you should make this a longer routine, but this is fine.
Yeah, listen, I like the fact that they are the exfoliation night is every 5th night, because to exfoliate more commonly or more frequently would only lead to inflammation. So I think that's following that's a good trend.
All right.
And again, notice how we're following people who are actually in the healthcare industry. Yeah. You're following a physician or a physician extender, someone who has experience in this. I find it so interesting that a 19-year-old girl with perfect skin gets on there and is telling all these viewers, this is what you need to do for your skin. Well, you've got some genetics that help you in that respect. But for those individuals that want some science behind it, I would listen to a physician or a physician extender.
Completely agreed. Now we're going to move on to silicone patches.
Silicone patches. Wow. Okay. So this woman has multiple silicone patches that are stuck to the skin. She's gently peeling them off, under eyes, neck, forehead, cheeks. And you will find these facial masks and neck masks and things like that, under eye masks that are silicone based, and they have some active ingredients in them. And I think those are great for the skin. You leave those on. They add temporary effects. Some of them can have some ingredients that can have some longer term effects. And so you just have to look what's in there. I mean, make sure that it's high in hyaluronic acid, put a vitamin C in there or something like that. And then, again, silicone, as far as silicone compression and stuff like that, is really only for scarring and burn. And, when we look at actual data of where it helps improve a particular condition.
The nice thing is, I think you should use a silicone patch like this. Do it for a little bit right before you're going to go to an event. Mm-hmm. And I think that'll take down inflammation better than other things will, because you're putting a compression in. And I'll tell you, I love the compression, the eye patches that we have, because it's just very simple. You put compression on any type of swelling or inflammation, it will go down.
Yep.
But especially it won't stay down forever.
Especially if you have some transdermal actives that are in there.
Absolutely.
And so that's
Then here's another one, silicone patches.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is, do these actual target wrinkles? Probably not. Listen, the muscle's still going to move, and it's not doing anything to improve the texture or collagen composition of the skin. But they do trap in moisture, which I think is a big help. And so if you want to leave those on for a period of time, it will temporarily make your skin look a little better.
You've got a 20-year-old girl here that's saying, when your silicone patches target wrinkles caused by sun damage, but people still want to get baby Botox. Now, everything in this video is false.
Yeah.
Number one, your forehead wrinkles are not caused by sun damage. They're caused by muscle movement. Number one. Number two, silicone patches don't do anything for those wrinkles whatsoever in the long term. They may make them look good for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or maybe even an hour.
Yeah, and it's really trapping in that moisture. I mean, you're not doing anything to improve the texture or quality of the skin.
So I call this a big baloney.
Yeah.
Let's move on. And the next one is going to be...
Let's see what we got.
Face self-tanning.
Face self-tanning.
Used to be one of my favorites.
My face is glowing. That's the TikTok. Again, a 20-year-old.
Why is her face so white to begin with?
Yeah. I know.
Wow. Okay, so you got to watch this video. So this girl starts out. She's probably about 20 years old. She starts out with her face. It looks like she's got chalk on her face.
Yeah, listen. Listen, I call BS. So she has clearly placed like a zinc oxide or something on her face, so it looks extremely white, and all of a sudden she blocks the camera, and the next picture up, she's got this golden, beautiful tan.
This is crazy, guys.
Yeah, listen.
I would do a mic drop and walk out.
Yeah,
if I could.
I know. I just think the problem with social media is that you don't know what's real and what's not. You can look at one page and there's a UFO flying by a plane. You look at another page. It's just, to me, I would get my information. You can look at all these pages and then bring it to a physician and say, all right, what are your thoughts on these? And we'll try to give you some science behind it. I just think we need to be a little more honest.
Moving along to something else I've never heard of.
Foundation frothing.
Sounds crazy. Who comes up with these names?
Listen, I love these trends. This is foundation hack. We've got a glass of water. We're going to put our spritz of
foundation.
Foundation.
Oh, God, it looks like a cappuccino.
Oh, wow. It's like one of those bullets. Now, a mask that goes on. She's painting her face.
So she frothed her foundation.
Wow. So
and
basically,
then she painted her face with foundation.
She just added water.
Yeah.
So she
frothed. She frothed it first.
She added water and blended it, and then put it on her face.
So listen, I don't use foundation, so I'm probably the last person to comment on this. But it looks like it's a cappuccino.
Yeah.
Drink it instead.
Listen, I mean,
look, it's a mousse. It looks like chocolate mousse.
I understand if it makes it easier to apply, but most of these come in a kind of a semi-liquid form anyway, so I don't understand the benefit of frothing it with water. You've added a little more water to the skin, but again, we're adding tap water, which is full of contaminants and everything else, so I think you've just ruined your skin by doing this.
Let's see. There's one more foundation frothing.
Frothing? Yeah, let's see what we got
really
here.
Into this. This is kind of cool.
Here we go.
I'm going to start frothing everything.
Oh, she just drank the thing of water, but left a little bit left. Put your foundation in the bottom. Come on. Let's give a good mix. A frother. All right, so this is to sell.
And her frother broke.
It is literally. The funny part is this is literally the frother from our coffee from the creamer.
Well, she's showing us that she put batteries in her frother.
Oh my gosh!
She broke her frother.
She's bringing through the entire process of how she's broken.
Anyways, it's the same as the other one. I don't use foundation. This looks really messy.
It makes
just use your foundation the way it is.
Consistency.
You don't need to froth.
Wow.
Takeaway message from these guys. Dr. Layke said it first, and I'm going to say it again. If you're going to take advice about skincare or any type of treatments that you're going to apply to your face or anywhere else, do it from a medical professional, not from a TikToker.
More exciting episodes just like this. Watch here now.
The one thing I always tell every single patient that comes in here, the best way to tighten skin is to remove it.